Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about how as a student you can get a better experience in your online learning. And I know, it's hard, it's tough. I'm living it. Homeschooling, it's tough. Before we get started, I just want to say, please do subscribe to my channel. I had a look and I think it's 4% of viewers are actually subscribers. So please do subscribe, and I am begging because I'm so close to 20,000 subscribers. So yeah, one last time, please subscribe. Also, please do check out my Instagram page as well. Right, let's get started. Tip number 1, mute your microphone. Now, you can do this by going into the settings part of whatever interface you're using and just click microphone off when entering a meeting. This means that when you click into your classroom, nobody can hear what's going on in your space. Noise is the one thing that can really put people off when there's a lot of people in a meeting, like a classroom scenario. So always have your microphone off, or just get into the habit of every time you log into a classroom, you switch that microphone off. So sound off, it's the best way forward when it comes to online learning. Tip number 2, think about your background. I'm going to link a video here actually because it says it all. Watch this video if you want some tips on how you can improve your background, but having a setup that looks good will make you feel good. And also it's less distracting. So you want to get rid of anything that's distracting behind you. Keep everything neat and tidy. It does make a difference to the viewer, which in a classroom scenario you're probably not that bothered about, but it does make a difference to how you feel about yourself. And that is important, especially in a classroom scenario where other classmates can see you, and in particular when you can see yourself. So I would keep it simple and do it well, and check this video out for more information. My third tip, I think, is a really important one, and it's something that I do. And it's to not just have one environment to sit in. It's probably easy if I explain what I do. So what I do to just give myself some variation is I have 3 environments that I sit in or stand in when I'm taking part in online meetings. And like yourselves, if you're doing online learning, I am in a lot of online meetings at the moment. And if I sit in one space, it can get really dull. So I have 3 areas. One is by my breakfast bar, one is standing up behind my breakfast bar, and another one is at the kitchen table. So super simple, but just changing where I am during the day just makes a difference to how I feel mentally about the meetings I'm taking part in. Tip number 4 is a huge game changer for me, and it's really simple. It's just standing up. Don't feel like you have to sit down during every lesson. In particular, when you feel like your energy levels are low, just standing up can make a huge difference to how you feel. It's also much better for your back than sitting down all day. Just remember that if you do stand up, you want to raise your laptop up as well, so that you're not making everybody look in the inside of your nose. And the easiest way to do that is get a load of Amazon boxes and just stack them up so it's nice and high. My next tip is all about voice and vocal delivery. Now, obviously in a classroom setting, you don't need to worry about this too much. However, if you just inject some enthusiasm, so I'm just talking like 10% more joy into the way you are speaking, it will make such a difference to how you feel. Now, you may be listening to some of these tips and thinking, I'm in a classroom, I don't really care how I come across. But this is really about how you feel, how you can increase the energy in yourself by changing the tone of your voice. So injecting some enthusiasm, it just makes a difference to how you feel versus talking like you can't be asked. And incidentally, the easiest way to inject some energy and enthusiasm is to smile. My next tip is use cue cards. Now, if you're new to this channel, you don't know yet that I love cue cards, but here is another reason why cue cards are great. When you're having back-to-back lessons, it's a bit like myself having back-to-back meetings, it's really hard to remember, let's say, what you did on Monday when it's Wednesday, because everything is the same. The only visual reference you have is your screen and the date and time in the corner. So what I do, and what I think you should do, is have a cue card each day with the date on the top. And if there's anything that I need to remember for, let's say, I'm in an English lesson on a Monday and I've got my next English lesson on a Wednesday. If there's anything I need to remember, I put it on that cue card. If there's any questions or things that I'm uncertain about that I need to ask my teachers, I put it on that cue card for the day. If there's any homework or anything that I need to show in the next lesson, I put it on that cue card. So by the end of the day, I have a list of things that I need to make sure I get done. This also means you're using just one card per day and you're not in your next lesson fumbling around trying to find notes, not knowing where you are. So cue cards are great. That's just one way that you can use them. Now remember, your cue card isn't for all your notes from your lesson. It's just the things that you need to make sure you remember for your next lesson. And don't worry if you start off by trying to cram loads into your cue card. You'll get much better at recording just the things you need to remember. It will get easier. It's a great thing to get used to using. My next point is an important one and I need to tread carefully with it, and it is to give feedback. I can say this quite confidently because I am very much involved in homeschooling at the minute. There are those who are great at delivering online lessons and those who are not. And it's important, I think, if you feel and your classmates feel that a lesson in particular is really bad and you're not getting anything from it, you need to be able to give that feedback in a way that is not overly critical, but obviously more of a concern for yourself and the fact that you're not learning. So what I'm saying is don't sit there feeling like this lesson is awful. I would encourage you to give that feedback. But remember, there's a difference between being really critical and giving feedback. That's a whole other video, actually. But yeah, I think feedback is important. And what's also important when it comes to feedback is giving good feedback. So if you have a teacher who is always energetic, who always delivers a great lesson, then make sure you say thanks because it makes such a difference. This is a really important one, and it is to take breaks. Now, I don't mean just take a break from your lesson, I mean take a screen break. Resist the temptation to just pick up your phone and be looking at another screen. What happens to our eyes and our brains when we're focusing down as much as we are on screen content is it can really, really affect how you feel physically, not only mentally. I mean, it obviously has an impact on our mental health, but literally how you feel physically. And you can feel it in your eyes start to feel dry, you start to get headaches. So make sure that you have breaks away from the screen. This tip really leads in from the last tip, and that is, if you feel like some of the lessons are really bad, why not offer yourself up as a moderator? I think what a lot of teachers are struggling with at the moment is the fact they're doing this all on their own. Having a moderator, so a student there to help, let's say, with any technical issues, for instance, making sure that everybody can see the teacher's PowerPoint when they're trying to share a screen, things like that can make a huge, huge difference. And it's also a really good skill to acquire, because in the business world, in the working world, if you're a good moderator, you're a good communicator, it makes a massive difference to how you are viewed by your colleagues. And my final tip, again, leads on from that last tip, and it is to look at this as an opportunity. I know that's hard. I know it's Groundhog Day and doing everything online is really difficult. But if you can get good at this, if you can be a good communicator online, businesses, companies, job opportunities that you go for will see that as an asset. Unfortunately, this ain't going anywhere. We are still going to be using Zoom, using Teams, especially when it comes to working life. And if you can prove yourself to be good at these things and to be a great communicator online, as I said, that is a huge asset to an employer. I hope those tips help, and I hope we don't have to homeschool for much longer. But if you have any questions at all about anything that I've said, then please do comment below. And as always, if there are any topics that you'd like me to focus on, let me know as well. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you next week.